This is Mark Washington from MTC Media with our boxing preview for Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. Now, this is the second meeting between the two as they try to unify the 154 belts. It will be the first time that they will be unified in the four belt era. Now, they tried this before and it ended up in the draw in a very exciting fight. Cheatham had the fight scored 114-114. Vasquez had it 117-111. Charlo and Westfield had it 114-113. Castano with Steve Farhart from Showtime having it 114-114. Personally, I had it 115-113 for Castano. It was an action fight. It's a fight that, you wonder if it's going to live up to the billing of the first fight. We do have some keys. I think what we'll see Charlo make the most adjustments out of the two fighters. Castano, I did have some success, probably more success than he thought, being able to get inside. But there's a few things that Charlo can do. First of all, he has to do something off his jab. That first fight, the power jab that he has is awesome, but it was just jab, 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 and nothing really came behind the jab. I think that Charlo thought I could be a boxer this whole time and they'll wear him down and I'll get him in the late rounds and I'll use that jab to set everything up for those later rounds. And that's not what happened because Castano ended up really being a live dog there, and it wasn't enough just for that power jab. And I thought that Charlo did not vary his attack enough in the first fight. Second, Charlo needs to stay off the ropes. I didn't understand why early in the fight he was putting his back up against the ropes anyway. Didn't think Castano was doing anything that got him at the ropes. And then once Charlo got to the ropes, he's kind of like stood there. So, Castano took advantages of those opportunities. So again, Charlo needs to keep the fight in the middle of the ring. Last but not least, Charlo needs to be the guy he was in the 10th round. Obviously, there was some concern in the first fight that maybe he was down going into the 10th round. And his 10th round, he ended up being explosive. Then things did work off the jab. He did throw a lot more power punches. He came after Castano. It was the second time in the fight that he hurt him. He had hurt him earlier in the fight in the second round. And in the second, and this time, unlike the first time when he hurt him in the second round, where Charles didn't really pursue, he just kind of went cautiously after that. In the 10th round, because there was a certain sense of desperation. I mean, he came after Castano, and he has to be that guy the entire fight. In fact, in a media pool, I believe it was last week, Charlo said, I want to knock this guy out. This is the Jermell from earlier, back when I was trying to end fights. I want to be that guy for 12 rounds now, and he does need to be that guy for 12 rounds. Keys for Castano. Castano had his opportunities to go to the body even more than what he did. I thought he was very effective when he went to Charlo's body. I mean, he did Charlo with a body punch, and Charlo literally was stopped. So I think he needs to go to that body more. Be patient with it. Pick up your spots, but it has to be more often to get to Charlo's body to open up those hooks that he was successful with in the first fight. He needs to jab in himself. I don't think what you're going to see is Charlo stand there and let Castano walk in like he shockingly did in the first fight. I think that Castano can throw his jab, and he's going to have to jab his way in this time because that is one of the changes that I think everyone sees Charlo making. So jab becomes more important for Castano. And again, do what he did in the first fight. The old Sugar Ray Leonard, let me fight hard for the last 30 to 45 seconds of the round. So that is the last thing in the judges' minds. And I can steal rounds. And I think that's why you saw the variance in the scorecards that you did. I felt like if you scored the fight based on the first half of rounds, Charlo wins that fight because his first half of the rounds, he was he definitely controlled ring generalship and everything. And it wasn't flashy. It was staying behind the jab, 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 jab. Castano didn't do anything. When Castano tried to win rounds in the last 30, 45 seconds, it was a little bit different. It was hooks. It was power punches, power punches, power punch, power punches, which is sexier. So if you're thinking about the last thing in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, Castano, I mean, he dominated that round. He won that round. And if you looked at the round for 3 minutes, maybe he didn't win the round. And I think that that's why the variance in the scorecards were what they were. It was based on what you were seeing and what you were scoring, and if you were giving Charlo credit for the first half of those rounds. Prediction: I think Charlo wins by stoppage in this one, and now I'm going to go with stoppage from ninth round on. So 9 to 12, I think there will be a stoppage, and Charlo gets the win. This is Marcus Washington from MTC Media.